All right, the highlights from GreatStockPicks.com from our live trading chat room on December 3rd. Kind of a slow day, but still some interesting teamwork plays, I'll call them. Lionsgate was one of them. I noticed Lionsgate when it looked like this, getting shape. I looked at the daily and said I really, think it needs to visit 30. It had support, price support at 30, and I'll tell you what, I'll slide the small version of the daily over. Price support and the 200-day at $30 area. So it became pretty interesting here. I did play this for a bounce right here. Got about 15 cents a share on it and back out. But then when we got the visit of 30, which is right about here, Wayne and a couple other guys in chat pointed out, said, hey, now we're visiting 30 like you talked about before. And I said, yeah, you know what? Now we're at the 200-day price support. Nice narrow green 5-minute candle here as well. And I like the fact that it took out 30 to the downside, kind of a stop run type thing. I called it long over this candle 30.03 with a stop below this candle 29.93. Never stopped out and ended up making a nice push to 30.60 there. So it doesn't look like much, but it was money in our pocket. I did make an early call on OXBT. Trying to keep an eye on these recent big movers because you can still get some nice intraday trades on them. So I called OXBT. Looked like this when I called it. This was the opening 5-minute candle from this morning. So all this was days before. All right, not exactly sure where I left off after that phone call, but this was the opening 5-minute candle here. I called OXBT at 6 even. If it gets up to there, thinking that should get it right through the high of the day. And it's been a recent strong one. And there was the trigger, and then and the stop was at 590, by the way. And then we got a nice push to 637, I think it was. So I mean, plenty of money to be had there. Wasn't huge again, but it was a decent trade. Another example of teamwork. One of our all-star moderators, Zozo, typed in the room MCP. I think he even jumped on the mic and said MCP's getting news. Okay. And so you see the spike. Massive volume. I mean, over 500,000 shares in 5 minutes. And here is the high of the opening 5-minute candle. I draw an arrow right there. So that was 499, okay? And you notice this spike, it didn't break the high of the day yet. So then I jumped on the mic and I said, okay, there's 2 or 3 different ways you can play this if you want to trade MCP. 1, you can wait for a 2-minute pullback. 2, you can take the high of day break, which would have been right here. Or 3, you can treat it like one of our Tokyo plays and just take it right here with a worst case stop below this candle. So gave 3 ways to do it. Didn't get the pullback, but anyone who grabbed it there at 495 with a stop at 485, which was one of my suggestions, did pretty well. I mean, pretty quickly from 495, and even if you took the high of day break at 5, you still had an easy trade. It went to 524, so I mean that's a nice percentage gain in a pretty short period of time. Another example of teamwork in the chat room. We weren't even watching MCP, but Zozo happened to catch the news on it and ended up giving a nice trade. Also, some guys were talking about racks. When racks look like this, I didn't have this on watch, and I looked at it, and then I jumped on the mic, and some of our members were talking about it, saying, hey, racks is getting hit pretty hard here, and it's at the June lows, okay? So if I switch to the daily, you can see the June lows right here at 34 bucks. So then back to the 5-minute chart, I jumped on the mic and said, hey, these guys are onto something. Racks could bounce here. Now, I don't want to create the illusion that I gave a trigger and stop because I didn't, but you did have a nice 5-minute kind of spinning top or doji candle. Anyone that took it on the break of that candle did really well. Again, it won't be on the results page because I didn't call a trigger and stop, but again, another example of the teamwork in there because those guys were posting it in the chat room, which got me to look at it, which got me on the mic, and I know we had several people make money on racks. I never even took the trade myself, but all right, I think that's all I've got from the day, so we will talk to you tomorrow.